Lisa J Makeup is a beauty YouTuber that has been on the platform for over 7 years. She's also the owner of BK Beauty, a line of makeup brushes and makeup products. And in this interview, we talked about her experience doing one-on-one YouTube coaching with me. And for me, it's always such a pleasure to be able to bring on my one-on-one YouTube coaching clients and to share their experiences and the amazing things they were able to accomplish. And in this interview, we touch on so many things that her and I worked on in order to get her out of a rut. She came to me because she felt like she was stuck. She'd been on YouTube for years. She just kind of had lost that excitement and motivation and all these types of things. And we talk about that in detail in this interview. We also touch a lot about Adsense and working with sponsors in this interview. So that's definitely some information in here you do not want to miss. Well, hello, my name is Erika Vieira. I'm a YouTube strategist and coach, and on this channel, I interview well-known female content creators like Lisa, where we together pull back the curtain to reveal what it's really like to be successful on YouTube. So make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell because I come out with new interviews every week. And let me know in the comments what your biggest takeaway was from this interview. Mwah. Well, hello, Lisa. Welcome back to the podcast.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be back.
I know. Last time was a few years ago, and that was a great episode, but it was before we worked together. So, I think recently, how long ago was it that we started to work together?
I think we started in October.
In October, yeah. So now we're bringing you back as one of my one-on-one coaching students or clients and want to dive into that experience with you. So I always love bringing on the people that I get to work with and kind of showing them off here on the podcast and seeing what happens when you start up-leveling your content. So excited to dive into all that. Before reaching out to me and saying, hey, Erika, I want to work with you. I want to get some coaching. Where were you with your channel?
Yeah. So last summer when I reached out to you, I was about 7 years into my YouTube channel. So I was in it. Mm-hmm. I think I had just hit 200,000 or I was just under 200,000. So I was pretty established. But I was kind of in this lull with my channel. And, I think anyone that's been doing YouTube for a while knows that there's highs and lulls and peaks and valleys and all of that. But I felt like I had been in this lull for a while, for a long time. And I just was finding it hard to create content that I was excited about. My views were kind of just slowly starting to decline. And it had kind of been that way for, I would say, maybe about a year of kind of, I started to see this slow decline in my channel. Mm-hmm. And, it was definitely hard to find that inspiration, that motivation, when I would create videos and they wouldn't perform well. And I just needed a reboot. And so I reached out to you because I felt like I was finally ready to be held accountable, with my channel and challenged. And that's kind of why I initially reached out to you.
How are you feeling about just yourself and your channel at that time, prior to reaching out?
I was very stuck. Stuck. I love YouTube, but over the course, when I started YouTube, it started as this passion project like it does for so many people. And it was like that for a few years. And then it became a business for me. And then I launched my own business, my own brand, BK Beauty. And then life just got really crazy. Then I was juggling this YouTube channel and trying to run my business. And I got really stretched thin. And that's part of the reason why my YouTube channel kind of started to decline and to suffer. But I always said before I started BK Beauty that I didn't want to be one of those creators that started a brand and then just disappeared off social media. I was able to do this brand because of my YouTube channel, and I wanted to continue to keep that first passion alive. So
mm-hmm.
I was feeling a little defeated, but I needed to, I knew that I was going to re-get that inspiration. I just needed someone to help me.
Yeah.
I needed someone to hold me accountable because I was, like I said, I was always prioritizing the fires. BK Beauty needed this, I would run to that. It was just always an easy thing to just kind of, not prioritize,
mm-hmm.
frankly.
Yeah. And it's funny because I do work with a lot of people like yourself that are established YouTubers, right? You know, on the surface, it's like, oh, she's a YouTuber. She has all these videos and hundreds of thousands of subscribers. But it's like at different levels of the journey, there's different struggles. I feel like more often than not, I get people like you that are stuck. It just seems to be something that happens a lot with creators.
Totally. Yeah. And I think it could be challenging for anyone to find fresh new ideas and content when you're talking about the same niche, you know, and you're doing 2 or 3 videos a week. Like after you do it for a couple of years, you can feel really stuck because you're like, I already did that video. I've done that video. And it's really hard to create content that, you know, continues to help people, or you feel, you know what I mean? It's hard to keep that inspiration alive. And then I was in this like rut too, because I started my channel like with education kind of in the focus of it. I had been a Mac trainer in the past and I love teaching makeup and tutorials. But then once you start doing it as a business, I started finding that, you know, you really respond to how those videos perform. And my tutorials or my teaching videos, you know, I was just trying to find myself. I was like, do I need to go buy every hot new product and review it the second it comes out because that's what people want to see? Or do I need to stick to like why I started this and what I love? And even though the views might not be there, I was just like trying to figure it out. I was really like doing this little dance of like, what's going to perform well? What do I really want to do? You know, and I felt like I had to choose of the two, and I really needed help finding a way to kind of merge the two.
Yeah, that's a tug of war that a lot of people go through. It's like,
yeah,
what's going to do well, but what am I passionate about? What do I feel good about? What is my mission? I know we talked a lot about your mission when we first started. What does that align with? Okay, so you were stuck. You had been on YouTube for 7 years. You had started this incredible company, BK Beauty. For those of you listening and watching that don't know, it's makeup brushes and now expanded onto makeup products. And you're juggling the company and your channel, and you felt stuck. You felt uninspired. So then you decided that you wanted to enroll in the coaching. What were you like most looking forward to? What were you hoping to get out of it with the coaching?
I really wanted help and direction with, I mean, honestly, all of it. I think people will be surprised, but even though I have been doing YouTube for 7 years, when you and I had our first call and we were going through my analytics, I mean, you were showing me things that I had never even looked at before, you know, which I think people will be surprised at because I've been doing this for so long. But I wanted help really understanding the analytics. I wanted help and direction with thumbnail creation. And I just wanted someone to hold me accountable because I think I probably did tell myself, you know what to do. You don't need to hire a coach or a training program. You know what to do. Just do it, Lisa. And the truth is actually that I didn't know it all. But then on top of that, the truth is that, you know, I needed someone to hold me accountable. I needed someone to say, hey, what videos are you doing for the next month? I really needed that accountability because I had been planning to do it for the last year and it wasn't getting done. And I just was not real happy with the way my channel was going.
Yeah. And when we do the coaching, when I work with someone coaching, I do find that people really like the fact that like we sit down, it's like, here's the hour and a half every month. We're dedicated to what's your content calendar? What are we doing? What are the titles? What are the thumbnail concepts? What are the topics? And then you're good. And you have that for the month.
Yeah. And it taught me how to approach my videos and my content. You know, before I started working with you, I was honestly like, you know, okay, I've got 2 hours today. What am I going to film? And I would sit down and I would come up with it, you know, and that's not good content. Frankly, it was boring. I have a very incredible community and people that support me and that will watch my videos, but I wasn't capturing any new subscribers with that approach. But that's what I was doing. And then you really forced me to say, no, okay, like these are the videos I'm going to do for the next 3 or 4 weeks. This is what the thumbnail is going to look like. Cause that was a big thing for me too. This is what the titles are going to be. So it really helped me feel like I had a better plan of action, you know, every month with my channel.
Yeah. And I always say success is in the planning.
Yeah,
it's a huge thing. And planning's not always fun, but it's especially YouTube. requires a lot of planning. What were the biggest breakthroughs that you had when you were going through the coaching?
I mean, there were a lot. The biggest breakthrough, I think, I would say I guess two, up leveling my content. You know, when you and I first met, we spent that first month really just improving my content. You know, I wasn't adding B-roll to my videos. My background was off. My lighting was off. It just wasn't visually appealing to watch. And you gave me that feedback. So then I started, incorporating B-roll into all my videos. I completely changed my background. And that was huge. And then I think the other big breakthrough is my Adsense revenue, because I was, I would click that little box to monetize every video, but I wouldn't do anything else. I didn't really understand that. As embarrassing as that sounds, after 7 years on YouTube, I didn't. And I just thought, okay, there's the box. I'm going to earn AdSense on it. And I remember when you saw that, you were like, had a panic attack.
Like, what have you been doing?
Yes. And then you showed me how to place ads. By doing that, I more than doubled my AdSense, which is huge because it's not any extra work. And I haven't had any complaints about having too many ads in my videos. So that little tip right there was huge. So all of last year, my AdSense was probably, around $2,000 a month, and give or take, a couple $100. And that was around 200,000 subscribers. And I just was very naive. I just thought like, okay, that's just extra, like, kind of income from the whole, piece of my business. But I think when you and I started working together, it was kind of starting to decline around $1,800 a month. And then after we started working together, I just got paid AdSense for last month. And it was $6,200. So and it has pretty much ranged between $5,000 and $6,000 over the last, 5 months since making those changes and working with you. And my views have increased, but not 2 to 3 times as many views. So that was pretty huge.
Yeah. So your AdSense nearly tripled.
Yeah.
With in some ways, well, we could talk about this because you were uploading, I think you were uploading how often a week when we first started working together, and then you changed your schedule.
Yeah. So I was doing 3 videos a week. And then now I just do 2. I put more time and effort into those videos, but I do 2 now. So I'm doing less videos and making more money.
You're doing 1 less video a week and you're making 3 times as much AdSense.
I'm getting more views on my channel. Even, it's not 2 or 3 times as much, but I'm still, my views have increased noticeably. So yeah, I feel like I'm working smarter. I'm not working harder, and I'm having more fun doing it because I'm proud of what I'm putting out. I'm not just like, scrambling to come up with something to film and upload. I feel really proud of the content that I'm making now.
Yeah, that's huge. What was it like going through this experience of getting coaching on your channel? You've done it alone for 7 years, and now you have somebody else kind of telling you what to do. How is that experience like?
Yeah. So the first time we had a call, I remember you telling me my thumbnails were boring. I was like, oh, okay.
All right, we're starting strong.
Yeah, you're very direct, but not in a mean way at all. But you're just very direct. And at first, I was like, oh, okay, and maybe I took a little like offense to it. But then I thought, like, Lisa, you're investing into this program, both your money and your time. Like, you need to be open to this feedback, and you need to take it because what I'm doing isn't working. And I know that you've worked with a lot of, influencers and YouTubers that I really admire and that I see their channels having a lot of success. So I just had to like put my ego at the door and like just be open to your feedback. And so that was part of it. And then, being accountable to have the calls with you and setting aside that time. I actually liked that it wasn't a every week call, like with you, even though I got weekly touch-ins with you and feedback from you. I liked that it was just that one long call every month because, like I said, I think what held me back for a while is just time. I thought, like, Lisa, you don't have time to hire a coach. You don't have time to work with a coach. And I felt like, you know, I did set aside that time to work with you, but it was manageable. It wasn't, it was a lot of impact in that 1 hour, an hour and a half that we would talk. But I loved the whole process of working with you. You know, I loved being able to get feedback for thumbnail ideas or title ideas before a video would go up. Yeah, it was a good process. I loved it.
Yeah, you're great to work with because you were very responsive to my suggestions, and you took action. You know, you took action like with the thumbnails and everything. I think I even told you, I don't think you ever ended up doing that. I think I said, like, can you just paint your wall?
And I remember this isn't related to that, but this just made me think of that. Yeah, you did tell me my background looked like grungy or grungy.
Yeah.
So I put a piece of fabric in the back.
Yeah.
But I remember one thing on our first call, you were giving me a lot of like tips and advice to get, more views and to get more clicks and to get all of that. And some of it I was like, that doesn't feel like me. Like that, that's not me. That's not my channel. And I remember you saying, well, that's okay. That's great. You're like, I'm here to give you like what I know can work. And then you tell me what you're comfortable with and what feels authentic to you. And I really liked that. You weren't like, oh, well, if you don't want to do it, that's, like you were just like, okay, that's great. Like, you don't have to do that, but let's find a way to make it work for you. Or let's find another way to approach it so that it's comfortable for you.
Yeah. And because that's really important to me, because you cannot be doing anything on YouTube that you're not fully comfortable with. That's going to ultimately hinder your own growth. Like maybe in the short term, right? It's very short term thinking. And that's why when I'm coaching people, like, I need to get from them. And that's why I always say, and you were really good about it too, because you did tell me a few things like, I don't know, because I need to understand where your mind is around that. Because if you don't feel like, oh, I love that idea, or, oh, that makes me excited, it's just not going to translate well on camera anyway. So it's like, so much of YouTube and success is actually having a self-awareness as a creator to know what you're aligned with. That's why we go back so much on like, what's your mission? What's your why? Like, what is that depth, in your soul as a creator? What makes you shine? What makes you excited? So, but I don't know that until that we have those conversations and getting that feedback. And you were good about that. And I remember and like, I like to go deep. I remember asking you, so like, why don't you feel comfortable? What about it don't you feel comfortable? And that helps me better understand your mindset, where your head is at, and where like your content plays a part in the overall picture of your life, of your mission, of what you're doing.
Yeah, I just want to add to that before we move on to the next question. I really liked how I felt like your work with me was very personal. It was like, because obviously I'm sure you work with many other beauty YouTubers, and you could just give us all the same direction, same advice. But I really felt like you came to me with ideas that really resonated with my style and my relationship with my viewers, and I really liked that. I felt like it was really personal, and
thank you. Yeah, I do, like, I find like every time I get a new person to work with, just on a one-on-one coaching, like, and same thing in the boot camp, because I do coaching in the boot camp, and I just feel like each person to me, like, it's like a little like nut I have to crack. Like, I got to get the inside to figure out like, okay, like, how can we make this like the best YouTube channel? And it's unique to every single person. And this is just good in general for those of you listening. It's like every single person, even if you're in a crowded niche, there is something unique and special about you. There's a reason that someone will be watching you instead of somebody else's review on that product, right? So, but what is that? And I think that's where some people fail to understand and fail. And a lot of times it's very difficult in general, even for me. I always tell people, like, I wish I had someone like me telling me what to do, because it's hard to do that with yourself, to know like, well, Lisa, like, why don't you talk about this? Like, wait, that's why in the forums that I make people fill out, like, that forum, I ask like a lot of very personal questions, not personal, but like, what I'm saying, like knowing your history, who you are, what's, all these things, because I need to understand who you are as a person so we can bring that out and highlight all those aspects and leverage those in an already popular niche. So it's like, I feel like each person that I'm given is like, I'm trying to figure them out. And like, it's this challenge, like figure them out, get deep, get inside, have these conversations. And then from there, like for me, it's like ideas just flood. Like then I'm like flooded with ideas. You know, every like, okay, Lisa, how about this? How about this? How about this? And it happens once I like can like kind of crack who that person is. So it's like a fun, almost like game and challenge to me. Like I love doing that, you know, like, and I don't think I could approach it like a cookie cutter because that would be boring. To me, it'd be so boring. Like I'm not going to, I was like, oh, here, Lisa, do this to that this other person did. It'd be boring for me. It's like, no, like, it's like what I love. It's like, you know, everyone has their passion. Like you love your makeup and like, I love this. I love getting like figuring out a person and then creating cool content from that.
Another thing you did for me that I don't even know if I told you this, but you kind of helped me like share more about myself and, what's the word? Like, I think I withhold things a little bit because one, I maybe assume that everyone that's watching my videos already knows that I was a Mac trainer or that I was this or that I was that. And I withhold a little bit of that, or maybe I don't want to, feel like I'm like throwing that out there, like, oh, you know, but you kind of really encouraged me to like highlight myself a bit more, you know, than I had done before. Really kind of highlight myself a little bit more in my background and what I do and what I've done. And that is not something I would have felt comfortable like just doing on my own, but you really like kind of gave me that confidence to trust myself and start creating content, sharing that, or just dropping that into my intros. So that if someone's new to my channel, they're like, oh, she used to be Mac trainer. That's pretty cool. And again, it's not something that I would have just like done for myself. You really helped me kind of, you kind of like helped me build a little confidence around these things that I might have like withheld, you know?
Yeah.
So I never told you that, but
no, thanks for sharing that. I didn't know that. That's cool. I know you also had mentioned to me like offline about another like thing that we worked on together that you felt was helpful was sponsored content. And I know, you know, for a lot of creators, they do kind of, I don't want to say struggle with the sponsored content, but like sponsored content it's an important part of having a well-rounded business as a full-time YouTuber. You know, I mean, you have your other business obviously, but just for a lot of full-time YouTubers, it's, you know, working with sponsors is a large part of that. And I know you and we did work a lot with that in the coaching. Do you want to kind of talk a little bit about what we did for that?
Yeah. So I, you know, when we started, I've been working with brands for a while now, and last year I probably worked with more brands than I had before in the past. And I was really, again, I think it comes down to spreading myself thin and not setting time aside to plan that I would have a sponsored video, like say it's Nordstrom, and I wouldn't put really a lot of thought into creating a video that was good content. I was just like, oh, I'll just, you know, Nordstrom, that's easy. I can grab all my favorite brands that are at Nordstrom and I can do a makeup tutorial and, you know, that'll work. And it wasn't good content, you know, honestly, it just wasn't good. And I was starting to see that in my views, and I just was not as inspired. And I didn't really like, even though it was exciting to, you know, get to work with all these brands, I really was starting to kind of resent it in a way. And you helped me come up with creative ideas for those videos. Like, you know, let's say that I was getting 10,000 views on a Nordstrom video before you and I started working together, where now I'm getting 24,000 views on these videos because I'm coming up with really like fun titles and, you know, video concepts. So that was, I always kind of had this idea that a sponsored video, I have this stigma around it, you know, I think. And it's like, as a sponsored video, you can still create really great quality content for your audience that is sponsored. And another thing that you did, it goes back to like helping me up level my YouTube videos and improving, you know, by adding B-roll and just taking more time to create a better, you know, video, is I've had a couple of sponsored videos that, you know, I've submitted for review, and they've been so like blown away with the quality of the video that they then ask if they can like pay an additional fee to use that video in an ad for 30 or 60 days. So, and that never happened to me before. So it's really, I'm basically taking that content and kind of getting, you know, I'm out of it by just, you know, giving the brand the rights to use that in an ad for, you know, a limited period of time. And I never had that before with my videos. So that was pretty exciting.
Wow. That is really, really awesome.
Well, and it's interesting because I'm on the brand side of things, right? So
That's
I have
true.
a brand,
You're
right?
a brand, yeah.
And we have Right. And so we always see when people are sharing us, and when that content that really stands out, it's like, oh my gosh, that was so great. We would love to use this in an ad, and we reach out to kind of get fees and rates from. So I knew about it. It just didn't really,
You're like, I knew about it. I'm a brand. I do that, but it never occurred to me to do it for my own content. That's funny.
Yes.
Yeah. And, as you were talking, I remember, didn't the video, it was a sponsored video, right? It was one of the physician formula videos. And that one ended up going viral. And it was a sponsored video.
Yes. That and my, Elf Cosmetics videos, you really helped me think, again, it's just going back to that planning, a sponsored content doesn't have to be and feel and look so sponsored. Really think of what your audience wants to see, a great video, and find a way to work, that content into that. So that was really, really huge for me, a big shift. And as I'm saying this, I know I'm sure people are like, she was doing YouTube for how long? And she was, but again, it was just being stretched so thin and just not taking the time to really plan and strategize and just have that mindset around, the way you approach your videos. So it was the whole thing. It was the whole process.
You're not alone in that. It seems like, oh, you've been on YouTube forever, but keep in mind, YouTube changes a lot. YouTube does change. Creating content is a lot of work. 3 videos a week is a lot of work. And it's like, a lot of people don't necessarily have the time to sit there and study the best practices and figure out what's going on, or, looking at the analytics, because you're so focused on the next video. You're researching, yes. You're putting together, you're dealing with the sponsors. There's so much that goes into it. So you're not alone at all. I work with tons of people like you, and I hear from people like you. And so for those of you listening and watching, know that it's not a bad thing. It is what it is. It's kind of it's this grind of creating content, and it is helpful to, either enroll in a course or hire a coach, or then take a break and just do the research yourself and reconnect. Because a lot of people, I think, are so scared of slowing down or stopping. But I always say you have to slow down and speed up. And in your case, you took the time and resources to invest in, myself or whatever. And then you were able to actually slow down as a result by reducing the number of videos that you're doing. And that's buying you back so much time.
Totally. Yes, totally. I remember on our first call, one thing you said to me was, that you see a lot of creators that just kind of are like me, that have been on YouTube a long time. You've got this established, subscriber base, and you just kind of get a little lazy. And, it was I think that was me, as hard as it is to admit that, that was totally me. And I don't know. Yeah, it's so true. I think it's just so easy sometimes, oh, I'll do a get ready with me. I'll do a favorites video. I'll do all the things that we've been doing for so long. You just get too comfortable and complacent. And then what you see is slowly that decline, or maybe you have that community of viewers that stick with you and watch all your videos, but you're certainly not gaining, a new audience. So that was where I had to kind of look in the mirror and be like, okay, this is me, just being really honest with where I was at, and again, leaving my ego at the door and just saying I have a lot to improve.
When your channel started to gain some traction, right? You got the feedback and you actually started to implement it, and then you started to see the changes, whether it was the AdSense or the views. What was going through your mind at that point?
I was really excited, obviously, but I think I was, God, I wish I had done this a lot sooner. And I just felt, I felt like I had just started my channel again. That excitement that you have in the early days of your channel, I got that back. And that was, that felt really good. And I just felt real proud of what I was doing, which was huge, because for the longest time I felt like, I was in a rut, and yeah, so I just felt proud.
Yeah. Well, you should be, because you did a lot of work, and and we saw some great results.
I really enjoy the process of working with you. You know, it does take that time, you know, to set aside and invest. And I mean, I love the whole process. I would love to work with you again. And I think anyone that's listening that can like resonate with where I was at or my story. And I went back and forth honestly for a little while. I was like, is it worth the investment? You know, can I really commit to doing this? Like, and then when I did make the investment, I was like, okay, Lisa, now you have to commit to doing this work. And, you know, but it was well worth it. So.
Well, thank you. Yeah. I always say the transformation is in the transaction. when you put that money down, you're like, all right, there's no going back now. And I found that for myself too. It's like, okay, I'm doing this. So now that, you know, we're wrapped up, the coaching is over. And, you know, you were hoping to gain, you know, all these different things when you enrolled in the coaching. Like, where are you at now with your channel? And how are you feeling now about your channel?
I'm feeling great about it. I mean, there are times like today in my video today, I was working on my title. I was like, man, I really wish I could ask Erika, like, help me with this title. But I said, okay, Lisa, if Erika was creating this title for you, like, what would Erika do? You know? So I feel really good. I feel like I learned a lot in those 6 months with you, that I'm still, you know, trying to implement today. So yeah, I feel really good about it. Yeah. And we're getting ready to leave, in about a month for kind of for some time away. And I'm just like trying to pre-plan and make sure I have everything wrapped up and I have enough videos and I, you know, get all of the brands that I'm working with taken care of. And I think that because I have that like understanding of the process of pre-planning, and it's definitely helped me feel not so overwhelmed. You know, I feel like I'm like, okay, here you have a plan. Here's the process. It's in control. You know, I don't feel like this panic of what do I have to film tomorrow, you know?
Yeah. 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 It's not a good place to be, especially when you're about to leave for vacation. That's not fun.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. No.
So what would you tell someone who's on the fence on, you know, getting a coach or, you know, hiring someone to help them with their YouTube channel?
I would say, you know, if you're on the fence, I think that, I mean, for me personally, I'm so glad that I did it. It took me a little while to come around. I think I started like, you know, I think I started looking at you like maybe a couple months before, and I might have even reached out before and then just never followed through. I thought the investment was a lot, and I just wanted to make sure, like, okay, Lisa, are you really going to get this out of it? And I was on the fence for that for a while, but you know, obviously even just from my AdSense increase, it was, you know, I made a return already, but I think if you're on the fence, I think you should do it. I think that you need to come from a place of being very honest with yourself about where you're at and where your channel's at, and you have to be really open to feedback. You cannot, you know, have an ego or be blocked to feedback. You really have to be willing to try new things and, you know, trust Erika or whoever you're working with, and, you know, trust them to guide you. Yeah, that's probably the advice I would give, but I'm so glad I did it. Like I said, I will probably, you know, do it again.
Yeah. I hope so. I loved working with you too, Lisa. It was such a joy. I feel though, I'm like, I don't know what it is. I feel like I attract like the most amazing women. I get to work with the most amazing, incredible women, and you're one of them. And it was such a joy. I mean, when you did reach out, I'll be honest, when you reached out for coaching, I was like, yes, because I had seen your channel and I'm like, oh, I want to get my hands on that channel. So because I just saw so much potential and I had just so many ideas and visions and things like that. And that's just, so when you reached out, I was like, okay, yeah, let's do this. This is going to be really fun. So, and it was exactly what I imagined and more. And I got to get to know you even better. And you're just an amazing, wonderful, kind-hearted person. And you're just so sincere about your business and your channel. And it's just, it comes through on your videos, and I was lucky to get to know you and work with you. So thank you, Lisa. And for anybody that's not familiar with you, yeah, thank you. Anybody that's not familiar with you and your channel, where can they find you?
Yeah, so I'm at Lisa J Makeup. My YouTube channel is Lisa J Makeup, and then on Instagram and TikTok at Lisa J Makeup.
Awesome. All right, Lisa, thanks so much.
Thank you, Erika.
Bye. I hope you enjoyed that interview and you learned a lot from it. Now, if you have a YouTube channel or considering starting a YouTube channel that you're serious about growing and you want the best of the best when it comes to personalized feedback, advice, and up-to-the-minute YouTube strategy, then consider my Zero to Influence YouTube Bootcamp for women. I have been running this bootcamp since 2018, and we have hundreds upon hundreds of very successful students that have gone through the program. And I can go on and on about the YouTube Bootcamp, but I want you to hear it directly from some of the women themselves.
I feel so lucky that I got to do Erika's bootcamp.
Before I joined the bootcamp,
Before joining Erika's bootcamp,
my channel was all over the place. I didn't know what I was talking about.
I would hear people say that I need to find my why and my voice and my audience and understand my target audience, but I never felt like I really understood what that meant.
Erika helped me come up with YouTube video ideas. She helps me with consistency. She helps me to interpret my analytics.
I started with 12,000 subscribers and now I have over 50,000 and it is growing rapidly.
My channel has grown almost 100,000 subscribers.
I definitely wouldn't have gotten to this place in such a short amount of time without Erika's bootcamp.
What makes Erika special is that she has been talking to and analyzing YouTube channels for years, and that has given her this bank of knowledge to pull from.
I'm constantly asking her questions about YouTube. I'm asking her advice about my YouTube channel.
Taking the Zero to Influence YouTube Bootcamp was one of the best
decision I could have ever made for myself, for my channel, for my own personal growth as a human being. I could not be happier.
I love that it has reinvigorated me in such a beautiful way. So I am so happy that I've joined.
You're crazy not to hire her. Get on it. All right.